Board of Education annual meeting to order with roll call vote, please.
Maycomer.
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Dyke.
Here.
Groin. Here. Mack.
Here.
Reading of the district mission, value statement, and core values by Director Foyne.
Our mission is to engage, inspire, and empower students and staff in order to maximize learning. Our district core values are best for all kids, family, committed leaders, passionate, and invitational.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, approval of the agenda. Are there any revisions or additions?
There's one change, actually addition. We do now have the names for our student board members we'll be recommending for approval and action. One is Isaiah Tilton, and number 2 will be Kale Rosiska.
That's agenda item number 12.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as updated.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as updated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 4, welcome visitors and public comment. Public comment is welcome on items that do not appear on our agenda. Seeing as there's no public comment, we'll move on to agenda item number 5, comments by board members and superintendent.
Board Superintendent Gold, Professional Learning. Really proud to say each of our campuses, this is a new system this year, has an important team called the Instructional Direction Team. The Instructional Direction Team is comprised of teachers, instructional coaches, and administrators, and they are doing the visionary work around teaching and learning. This group also meets as a large group weekly as a district team. But what I'm really excited about is there are high quality conversations happening constantly in our schools around teaching and learning, and a leadership team that's devoted solely to that. Board Superintendent Goal 2, we're proud of some small but really important changes you'll notice around our campuses for helping with culture and climate. We have a new initiative to support making more positive contacts home. We're encouraging our staff to make weekly positive letters, phone calls, text messages, home visits, and to make sure that there's always good news going out. One, it's just good for our community to hear all the good stuff, and number 2, it's good for our staff. Sometimes it's easy to focus on things that were challenging, and we want to take stuff home with us. I always say if you're sitting home in the lazy boy, you know, what are you thinking about, the challenge that day or something really positive? So it gets that positive going. We're also putting a high priority on hallway duty and student supervision at all of our campuses to keep our kids safe. That's just really important to build relationships and improve the culture and climate. I know there's a lot of hard work going around that with our team, so thank you to our staff and our great family for making this successful. And our Board Superintendent Goal 3, construction of the baseball softball fields is slated to start this week as long as the weather cooperates. Keep looking outside on that, but it is slated. We have a pre-construction meeting at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, and they plan on starting construction Wednesday as long as the weather holds out. So we're also putting the finishing touches on the environmental changes to the hallways at Washington, and we encourage guests to stop by and see all the changes we've made there. That's what's going on in the district.
Board members?
I had an opportunity, or I took an opportunity a week ago Friday to take a tour of the middle school with a couple of our middle school tour guides, our students, Carter Habercorn and Jasny David. Spent about 45 minutes, and you know, I got stopped by some teachers and staff members, and they're like, "What do you mean you're taking a tour? You've been in this building before." Yes, I have. I had not heard the student perspective, and it was nice to hear them give their perspective of how they use the building that falls in line with how we as a board and the administrative team had envisioned we would use it. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to also try and schedule some tours with our student ambassadors, I think we're calling them, at the other buildings as well before winter sets in. So
Excellent.
I went to the cross-country meet last Thursday and just wanted to say it's the very first cross-country meet I've ever been to, and didn't realize how big it was and how many people were involved, and it was just awesome. We had great weather and great turnout. There were a lot of people there and a lot of staff there to help, which is great to see. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. I last Thursday I was able to participate too in school tours given by the students, and was impressed with the buildings and how everything looked, but that did not compare to the students by any means. We have those very well-spoken students, wonderful tours, really enjoyed it. My high school tour, I think, was supposed to be 45 minutes and ended up being an hour and 45 minutes. But Washington, Lincoln, and here in the middle school, those kids are really proud. They show it, they tell it, they speak it. It's really wonderful. I left there so excited. I was in cloud nine. I'm so excited for what's happening in this district. And as a grandparent whose kids are going to be coming here someday, I'm really excited. So with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 6, committee reports. Committees, policy.
So we met last Friday, and it was myself and Scott in for Robin that morning, and Mike, and we basically just discussed some changes to the handbooks, a lot of the kind of the tone and the language in the handbooks as well, and also aligning that with the new mission and vision statements that we have. So.
Good. Thank you, Scott, for filling in with me. Just a reminder to board members, if you're not able to attend, any of us are welcome to fill in so that we have board presence at those. Job shadowing, I will send out the email that we'll still work on getting who was drawn last year, if you still have those people to finish up. Along with, I'm going to add students. We were asked to shadow a student, so I'm going to add that to our list of things to do too within the schools. Moving on to agenda item number 7, the next 20 project presentation.
You have an exhibit as well. It looks like this in your board packet. Just want to give a quick overview and recap of what we did in the next 20. And as we've talked about this quite a bit as a school board, we convened a team last spring and spent considerable time, resources, and effort to really envision where do we see our district in the next 20 years. And part of that is preparing kids for that next 20 years, preparing our staff for the next 20 years, and then also asking what do we want our graduates to look like. And it started with the one-on-one conversations I was doing within the community. As I sat down with business owners and parents, I started hearing things, consistent themes and patterns over and over. And oftentimes it's like, what do you think our kids need? And it wasn't reading scores or math scores or writing. And those are important. And don't get me wrong, we'll continue to do that. But what kept coming up were some of what we call soft skills, the showing up on time, being good people, working through conflict resolution. As I asked a couple of our local business people, I talked to an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC person. They're like, Mike, if they're good people, they can show up on time, they can build good relationships, communicate well, I'll teach them everything else. But we can't find people like that, and we need to make more intentional focus on that. So we worked with a group out of Ohio called Battelle for Kids, and they spent time with us then to go through a process which was 4 meetings and engaged over 60 different stakeholders in the community. We typically had 30 at a meeting, but some were rotating in. I want to thank there were several board members there, but we had students, we had parents, we had staff, we had our senior leaders, our directors, our administrators, we had clergy, we had politicians, we had the ranking people in the community, and we just had just normal, I don't say normal, but just, people that don't necessarily have positional authority. We had, had young mothers and things like that, and just asking, what do we need, and facilitate this process. And I'm proud to say tonight, for your consideration, as part of our North Star, we are looking at adopting these competencies that we developed in this conversation. And to go over, and I want to really thank, first of all, Bob Lincoln's here, and Bob Lincoln is a community leader, but also a parent. And he was a highly engaged person in this process. And then Sandy Thompson, both a parent and a staff member, counselor at Washington. And I asked him to come tonight, really just to answer questions. So this is a quick presentation. But we just want to entertain your questions about the process and what happened. And then also possibly things that you might want to learn more from the competencies. But the competencies that we agreed that all of our kids need beyond the academic pieces are adaptability, integrity, critical thinking, communication, empathy, and a learner's mindset. Adaptability, the ability to work effectively in a climate of changing priorities and demonstrate agility. Integrity, following a set of core values demonstrated through the choices and actions. Critical thinking, view problems, looking at both bigger picture connections and the details. Communication, being able to convey opinions and ideas using oral, written, and nonverbal skills in a variety of forms. Listen and observe. That's a big one. It's a huge one in our society. Empathy, expressing awareness, sensitivity, concern, respect to others' feelings and thoughts. And learner's mindset, being able to embrace and curiosity, explore new ideas, and that desire to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So these were the 6 big competencies. This is going to be a process. It won't be an overnight thing. But down the road, the next 3 to 5 years, we infuse this in every part of our curriculum, every part of our teaching and learning, and making sure this isn't just an extra class. This is just who we are. So in the math, in the reading, in the band, in the art, whatever it may be, that these are infused in there. And some places it's a little more natural. Some places it'll be a little more difficult. But as you know, we've already started down that road with our 21st century skills class that we're teaching 8th graders right now. Had a great coaching with a teacher about that today, what we're trying to infuse in that class. So I'm just going to open it up. First of all, I guess I'll have Bob, you want to come up and maybe just share a few comments, and then and I'll have Sandy do the same, and then we'll just open up for questions for you guys. So thanks, Bob.
Thank you for the opportunity to participate in the planning process. I found it really fascinating to get inside the organization, inside the school, and share with other community members. I thought what was most productive was the questions. We didn't come up with a lot of answers, but trying to find the right questions. And then the whole exercise of visioning, what should a student look like that's on a successful track. I thought it was a very productive conversation. And it was an opportunity for me to visit with business leaders and educational leaders and understand their barriers and their challenges. And most importantly, we really did focus on the success. What are the strengths of our community, and how can we add to that and infuse into the success and the talent that our kids possess. So again, I really appreciate the opportunity and happy to take any questions that you have.
I would say the same. I appreciate the opportunity of what our district is doing here, the vision that we have. I was very excited to be a part of this committee when I was asked to be a part of it. I think the one thing that I loved the most about it was that, like Mr. Fisher said, it was just like voices from everywhere that were here. And the first night when I walked in, I was like, parents I'd been working with for years, and parents that I've just started working with at Washington, or, like from the politicians to the people that are a little bit more influential, and to just like moms and staff people like me. But I just felt like very excited about what we were doing, and that our district was looking at this as a really big deal. And as a mom, I was super excited that knowing I have children that come through here that, this is what they're going to look like in the future. Like, I want them to be great characters, great characteristics of like just what their personalities are. And one of the things we talked about was, a lot of times we think that's supposed to happen at home, and we know that that isn't happening at home for some of our families. So I'm very excited that we have this vision now, and we can bring it for everybody, and that we're going to be kind of responsible for making our students adaptable and growth mindset and empathetic. And I'm kind of excited about that, because we know that doesn't always happen at home like it used to. I just felt like it was a really great process. There's a lot of great conversations that happened, lots of deep questions that were asked, and it was just kind of nice to have those big, deep conversations about what we want our students to look like 20 years from now. Super excited about that.
Questions?
I want to say thank you. I mean, it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of nights and weekends, and it went on for 4 months, 5 months?
Middle of July, a 2-hour meeting, and 30 people showed up. That's right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
People
Yeah.
committed to putting that time in to make it successful. So we're really grateful of the hard work that you did, and really thankful that you went through and did it all. So really impressed. Very impressed.
Have either of you had experiences in any other school districts besides ours?
No, I've been blessed just to be in Charles City all these years.
Mr. Fisher, could you tell me, what other, I know we were told that our competencies were not necessarily the norm, I believe.
what was fun about this was it was not easy. It was hard. There were some arguments, but that's the idea. And there was a process which we appreciated, so everybody's voice was heard. And I think what was unique about what did come up was that it reflects who we are in our community. And I think we're a pretty peculiar place. I mean, we're going to approve a new mission, pending your approval, a new mission statement tonight that I think is very unique and peculiar. But we also want to be that place that all kids feel welcome and all kids feel prepared, walking out, that they, I'm going to quote Joe Taylor and Tom Harskamp, we're really defining leadership in a new way, and is to become the best version of yourself. And I really felt these competencies reflected that, and that just came out of the community of that. I think there's some things in our DNA that are really cool. It's a very humble town. We're a humble town. I love that about us. We're modest. We let our results speak for ourselves, and I think that kind of came out in here. But also looking at the greater society things. I mean, I read the newspaper a lot. I got to quit doing that. Sometimes it bums me out, but sometimes it's an angry world right now. We have to teach our kids, one, to be prepared for that, and number two, make it better. Make it not so angry. Make it a place that, we have integrity. But we also have a learner's mindset. So we're consistent, but we're also willing to hear other people's opinions and be empathetic. And so that's what I'm excited. That just bled out of this, I think, and all of us that agree, was part of that process.
I have to share with you my first night. I sat across from a young man, and I feel bad I can't recall his name, but I asked him what he felt needed to happen to make the school better, and he said more recesses. And the reality is he was on to something. And research studies show that the more opportunity kids have to engage and learn from each other, the more productive they can be. So it was a great cross-section, great conversation.
I think we focus so much on STEM and STEAM. STEM and STEAM, that's all we hear, that's all we hear, that's all we hear. Be a part of, and for the community to be part of, to say, the school district is a lot more than just those things. We are graduating young adults that are well-rounded people, and Charles City has always done that. And what I'm excited about this is we're going to keep doing that, and getting everybody into the same mindset and unified mindset that we all came up with. So thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one good thing leading to another. Here we go. Agenda item number 8, social studies trip. Mr. Pittman, the high school social studies teacher, is here to tell us about the opportunity we don't get to go on.
Yes, thanks for having me again. In your guys' stuff, I did submit a letter and the agenda that my students are going over. Just to kind of highlight it, we're planning to take this in the spring of 2021. And this one is, we got kind of 2 points. One is we want to hit the culture of the Western civilization and going through that. And last year after I got back from Peru, Abby Gomez came up to me and she said, hey, I would love to go. And I was like, well, she was like, she wanted to contact EF. She's like, I want to do a trip. They're like, we kind of go through Rob Pittman. And she came to me and I was like, let's just put more of a science bent on it. My wife has gone on 4 of my trips now. She's like, yes, I want to totally do this. So depending on the number of people that we go, we're going to try to make the part of this trip where we have some more of these science kind of things going, looking at the climate, the plants, biology, all these biology terms that I don't even think about anymore, that Greece has. So I'm looking forward to that. Some of the things that kids will go to is Epidaurus, Mycena, Olympia, Argolida, Delphi, spending a lot of time in Athens. One part I also like, and this is where I think the science can come in, we're gonna take a day cruise where we hit 2 of the different islands just to the west coast of Greece. As I said in the letter, this will be the 8th trip that we will take. The cost is $3,168. EF usually does a $200 discount when kids first sign up. So that'll bring it, as much as I can, I want to bring the trip, keep the trips under $3,000. I plan to start the enrollment time come the 2nd week of October, which gives them a great amount of time. And on the sheet, they broke down a little bit about what the monthly payment is. Our fundraisers that we are planning to do is the same ones that we have done, where we sell butter braids and we do a chili supper. I'm also looking a little bit into, we have a new owner of Pizza Ranch, and they've reached out to the schools and said, hey, we want to do more. So looking at opportunities that we have there. And I think it should be a great trip. One thing that I really enjoyed about the Project 20 ideas, several of those skills you learn about even more as you travel. It gives you some great opportunities to explore those, to try them out in different situations. I think it's a good thing to just keep doing in our district, adding that to our German program, adding that to the Germans that come, to our great exchange students that keep coming year after year. You know, the more we can make it, the better rounded all of our Charles City students can be. Do you guys have any questions or concerns for me?
Remind me again the age.
The age group, I try to make this for juniors and seniors. So kids right now who are sophomores and juniors are the ones that sign up.
Okay.
And why I do that, when they're a little bit younger, I have a lot of parents are like, I want to go. And I was like, from my experience, when I traveled with my mom, I got certain stuff. But as I started to travel on my own, I got a lot more. And the growth that comes out of it, I think is very, very impactful. Yep.
Do you have a cap on the number of students you take?
Nope, never.
Do you find it hard for, you know, I see the estimated cost, and they can expect to offset their cost between $100 to $400. I didn't see the,
And that's
you
average.
talked about a month, what's that?
That's the average. There are kids that,
Go above and beyond.
yeah, there was one kid who did Peru who I think he maybe got closer to 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find that, obviously, that hinders some kids not being able to?
It does, and there's, we had a student who graduated 2 years ago. She came to me, she said, if they come to me, I can work on different things, and that's something that I talk about. But she was a Hispanic American. I said, that's an angle, let's go through it. And I think it's the Hispanic Council of Iowa or something like that. They actually pay for a road trip. So we try to do different things and look out for all the stuff we can. There's some organizations in Charles City that I've tried to see if they could help out, and they're like, that it was something that they didn't want to do. But, you know, the kids that have always had to work for it, where they are like, I got a job, I'm doing this, I do detasseling, all that money's going to it, and then a little bit of help out. Those are the kids that were like, hey, you want to try this? They don't say, they go after it. You know, so I think that has some of its advantages too. But yeah, I mean, I wish the school budget would say like, now each kid gets this, but you can't do that.
Motion to approve the request for spring break 2021 social studies trip to Greece as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the request for spring break 2021 social studies trip to Greece as presented. Any additional discussion? Excellent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to agenda item number 6, appointment of district secretary treasurer for 2019-20. This is an action item.
Move to appoint Terry O'Brien as the district secretary and treasurer for 2019-20.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Terry O'Brien as the district secretary and treasurer for 2019-20. Any other additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. I will administer the oath to Terry. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Secretary Treasurer in the Charles City Community School District, and now and hereafter required by law?
I do.
How many times have you taken that oath, Terry?
23.
Thank you.
Isaiah wasn't even born then.
Agenda item number 10, appointment of legal counsel for 2019-20.
Motion to appoint Ehlers and Cooney as legal counsel for 2019-2020.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the appointment of Ehlers Cooney as legal counsel for 2019 and 20. Any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 11, naming of board district official publication.
I'll make a motion to appoint or approve the Charles City Press as the district's official publication.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Charles City Press as the district's official publication. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Appointment of the school board member.
We had a good problem. We sought out students, and we had 12 show interest. And so we used a process where they wrote an essay about what they felt about our vision and mission, how they wanted to advance it. And so both the president and I reviewed those, and I did some reference checks with high school administration as well. And I'm pleased to announce we actually are going to recommend 2, being a positive problem. And so, which will give us mobility in the future. If we want to retain 2 beyond this year, we can do that. If not, we're going to actually appoint a junior, recommend to appoint a junior tonight that could do a 2-year term. So our recommendation from the president and I, after going through a review process, is Isaiah Tilton as a senior student board member who's present tonight. Hi, Isaiah. And Cale Ruziska, who is a junior, unfortunately is not able to make it. He is at a drama practice rehearsal, but we'll get that on a schedule. And that young man was so busy because I had to make a phone call to him. He was on a livestock show today with the FFA, so I actually had to call the FFA teacher to give him the phone to let him know. And he goes, yes, and I got drama tonight, so I won't be there. But we're really excited both to find people and showing great enthusiasm for this work. So that is our recommendation.
I make a motion to appoint Cale and Isaiah as the student board members for 2019-20.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Isaiah Tilton and Caleb Luziska as the student board members for 2019-20. Is there any other additional discussion? I enjoy the thought of letting a student board member be on for 2 years. I know how long it takes to catch up with board things, just even being the adult sitting here. And to have a student be able to be on for 2 years too, I think your understanding is going to be even that, much more. So I'm excited for that.
A lot more competition this year than last year.
Yes, you did.
You still made the cut though, so that's
There you go.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Terry will administer the oath of office to Isaiah.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Student Board Director in the Charles City Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
Thank you. Agenda item number 13, level 1 and 2 investigator of abuse of students by school staff.
I move to name Marcia DeVore as the district's level 1 investigator for 2019-20 school year. And the level 2 investigator is the liaison from the local police department.
I have a motion and a second to recommend Marcia DeVore as the district's level 1 investigator for 2019-20 school year. The level 2 investigator is a liaison from the local police department. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 14, affidavits and depository.
This is informational, but the banks that the district has money provided an affidavit showing the year-end balance as kind of a check and balance for the year of our funds.
Is there any additional discussion? All right. Agenda item 15, 2018-19 Certified Annual Report. Terry?
Mr. DeVore is going to put my PowerPoint up.
You better pass the mic over to Terry so they can hear her on TV too.
Okay. So the certified annual report is a summary of July 1st, 2018 to June 30, 2019 financial information. There's a couple of key points that I'm going to cover. The report is very large and very detailed, but the high points are in the general fund. First, all my discussion is going to be of the general fund because that's by far our biggest fund. The undesignated fund balance increased from 1.5 million to 1.6 million, or 9.2%, which is good. I did provide for you a breakdown of the fund balance because there's also changes to the categorical funds. Our categorical funds we actually did spend down, and our undesignated balance did show that increase. That's very good. Part of that probably is attributed to our increase in enrollment, directly affects our funding for the year. The next slide shows a graph of the unspent balance and the changes over the year. We're starting to level out. We had declined our unspent balance for a couple of years intentionally because in our policy this year, we have a target for our unspent balance, which is between 10 and 15%, preferably at 12. So our unspent balance at the end of the year was 14.3. So it's under the maximum, and it's trending down towards what we want to achieve at 12%. The undesignated, unreserved general fund balance is our second target in our policy. Our target was between 10 and 15%. Our measurement at the end of June was 8.79%. and is trending up. So trending up towards where we want to be. So we're taking steps to try to get to that range. Next slide, our revenue increased this year 3.2%. And I kind of broke down for you where the increases where we saw them. The local taxes, state sources, and federal sources all increased, where our tuition and local sources decreased. And then next is just a graph which kind of illustrates for you where, the majority of our funds are coming from. So most of our funds are either state sources or local tax. So tuition, other federal sources are a small piece of our income. The 2018-19 expenses actually decreased just slightly, 0.2%. Our salary and benefits decreased. When you combine them, we had a decrease of 1.3%. Other expenses increased 4.6%. So when you take the salary and benefits into consideration, it makes up a smaller percentage of our total expenses this year. This year it was 81.5% compared to 82.4% in the previous year. And then again, another bar chart which just shows, you know, the salary and benefits are, again, the largest chunk of our expenses. And then next, I prepared for you the report that you receive every month as part of my financial report. So this is final for the year. Our revenue was just over what we had budgeted for revenue, 0.2% over what was anticipated. Our expenses, and we kind of alluded to the preliminary information back in July, that we knew we were going to be over in some categories. Many of these expenses were like one-time things. For instance, we had 2 years of technology in this year. And also we used some of the flexibility funds and had one-time expenses for mission visioning type work. Now, the solvency ratio isn't actually part of any ratio in our policy. It's something that we've traditionally followed, so I included it here. IASB has a target between 5 and 15%, and ours was at 8.74%. So good. So that's information on our general fund. Now I'll talk a little bit about other funds that we have. This slide just shows our year-end fund balances in each of our governmental funds, sales tax, PEPAL, and debt service grouped together. At year-end was $3.2 million. Capital projects for our ball field, we had $500,000 at year-end. Management for $400,000, and the student activity just over $200,000.
Terry, can I ask you a quick question about that? That specific one, the last one, the student activity fund, can you just remind us what that's for?
The student activity fund has like gate receipts and concession stand and income from any fundraisers for our sports. And then from that, we use it for, you know, football equipment, supplies, that's mainly it. There's a lot of purchase of supplies and equipment for those sports. Besides the athletics, there's also funds for the fine arts. So it's the activities fund, athletics, fine arts. They have their own pots of money that they earn from fundraising that they can use on their particular program. So it's set aside for that program. Each month you get like a report of all the different categories and what was taken in and spent.
In the student activity fund, would we put expenses against that related to travel for teams? So if we have to put a bus driver on extra hours, or if we have to put extra chaperones?
The transportation to activities is not part of the activity fund.
Okay.
Only if it was something that was out of the ordinary. You know, if they were planning a bigger trip to, say, you know, Chicago or something, that would need to be fundraised and be part of their expense. But the normal transportation to and from events is part of the general fund.
Great, thank you very much.
And the FFA accounts are also in student activity, yes?
Right.
Yeah, that's,
Yes,
All extracurricular.
right.
so if you go and you look at your monthly report, some of those organizations may only have $50, some may have $59,000. It all varies depending on which, and this is just a summary of all those together.
Yep. Next is our proprietary funds. We have two. The first one is our food nutrition fund. Went up to $158,000. That's good. That particular fund, I wrote excludes GASB 68 expenses. So in 2017 and 2018 year end, I excluded those expenses. In fiscal year 2019, there were no GASB 68 because we no longer have employees for food service. It's all outsourced. The health and flex funds at year end, 1.5 million. And next is a report that you get monthly showing the financial comparisons for the various funds other than general.
Could you pause for a second and back up one screen, Justin? Why would the nutrition fund be almost double in 2 years?
You know, that's like last year, we outsourced with Topper, and they had a guarantee. So we were guaranteed 500, or not 500, 20,000 above what we made. And I know that they did end up paying us some money at the end of the year. Other than that, you know, we take in fees from the state for free and reduced. We take in fees for meals from families. And the rates of the meals that we charge, a lot of times are dictated by the state. They say, you know, the cost per meal should be within this range or should increase this amount. So we've been, you know, charging the appropriate fee for the meals, and our expenses are lower than that.
Thank you.
So, like I said, this is just a final report of the monthly report that you get on the other funds. So it just kind of shows a comparison of like the revenue in each of the funds as compared to our budget. Management fund was just over 100% in revenue and expenses, and you can just kind of look down. All of the funds had revenue over our projection, and all but the management fund had expenses under. And that's it. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer those.
Any additional questions?
Thank you, Terry.
This is an action item.
Yep.
Motion to approve the 2018-19 certified annual report as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the 2018-19 certified annual report as submitted. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Terry, for all your work. Agenda item number 16, 2018-19 Special Education Supplement.
So our special ed deficit went down this year from $226,488 to $126,905 at the end of this year. That is an amount, our deficit is an amount that we can request from the state supplemental aid to offset that negative balance. In order to do that, the board has to approve that request.
Reasons for the decrease? It's quite a savings.
We made a huge effort to attack this as a goal, and I think going back 3 years ago, Terry, it was pushing 600,000.
Yes,
it was high fives.
Yeah.
Two big things. One, we really got a great handle, thank you to Karen Landers and to Terry, on getting the Medicaid billing done, and that's really improved our revenues. The other big thing was, and credit the board and our team, and want to credit our administration and senior leadership on our paraeducator plan. Our paraeducator plan was to create more full-time positions, which has additional costs, but because of that, through attrition, we have vastly reduced the personnel we have, the amount of people, and we are now more effectively utilizing the resources we had. So what I'm really proud of is this number's down, and we still bought a bus. We bought an $88,000 bus with special education funds. So we bought a major piece of equipment, and with the ongoing expense changes we made, and honor great people with full-time position and benefits, and it costs less in the long run. I mean, that was just a win-win in a lot of ways.
Thanks to all the effort that does go in this. This is a great savings. I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to request supplemental state aid in the amount of $126,905.45 for their fiscal year 2019 negative special education balance.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to request supplemental state aid in the amount of $126,905.45 for the fiscal year 2019 negative special education balance. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 17, North Star Way of Life.
So as we presented last week, we're using the phrase North Star to encompass all the things that guide who we are, inspire who we are as a school district. And that includes our vision, our mission, our core values, now our essential competencies, and also the kind of, we call it the geeky stuff, the engine, so to speak, in the hood, the frameworks, our theory of practice, and our organizational chart. The big one would be our new mission. So we're modifying our mission to be, regardless of who you are or what your story is, you can learn and be loved here. And then what was formerly our mission will now be our vision of engage, inspire, empower. The other big piece of that as well, so a lot of this hasn't changed from last year, but one of the other big changes will be the addition of adopting the competencies. There's a graphic in your exhibits, however, we're still working on that with the graphic designer. It's still in a draft. That's why there was some placeholder font and different things in there as well. But we really want to develop who we are, what we believe, our way of life, and so just wanted to present this for a board resolution of really stating, even at the governance level, this is what we believe in, this is who we are, and this is how we'll move. And entertain any questions you might have.
Isaiah, what do you think of this? Being a student board member, being a student.
Yeah, well, I find it very helpful for us as students. Have goals to get to. You all show the motto of our new way.
Yeah, the competencies. Excellent. Thank you.
Motion to adopt the North Star Way of Life as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the North Star Way of Life as presented. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 18, Superintendent Board Goals for 2019-20.
These were presented at the last meeting, and excited about, first of all, we had to set our North Star and our competencies, and these are all aligned to that. So you're going to see, we keep using the word tight and lean. Everything we do is very aligned. The Michael Fallen work of coherence we're working on at the board table. Everything's coherent, makes sense. So I won't rehash all of them, but equity and achievement will now be instead of professional learning. So what we're going to do is align to our mission. Regardless of who you are, what your story is, you can learn and be loved. So we're going to make sure that all students, regardless of circumstance, will learn at high levels. Culture and climate goal will remain with a few tweaks there, and facilities and infrastructure goal will also remain as well. So those are the three big goals with subsets within that, and that will be how we will move as a school district and leadership team pending your approval. Any questions you might have?
Move to approve the 2019-20 board superintendent goals as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the 2019-20 board superintendent goals as presented. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. On to agenda item number 19, access and indemnity agreement. See, the information is presented in our packet. This has to do with the softball fields on Comet Drive. I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the access and indemnity agreement with the City of Charles City terminating on the completion of the district work on the parcel of land or the conveyance of the parcel to the district, whichever occurs.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the access and indemnity agreement with the City of Charles City, terminating on the completion of the district work on the parcel land or the conveyance of the parcel to the district wherever it's first occurred. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 20, baseball, softball field project contracts. Again, information was provided in our packets.
I guess I would just echo my previously stated concerns about the total cost of the project.
Superintendent Fisher, do we have any updated information on costs of that at this time?
We are currently working on some possible cost reductions. So we keep, obviously there's always the possibility of change orders, but our goal is to minimize those and work with Jerry Mitchell. We also don't foresee a lot of change orders, for unforeseen things, other than maybe some cost-saving things that we might be able to do. So in our mind, this is the highest it would be, is always our hope. And so, and Woodruff Construction has a great track record. One of their big references is they actually did the renovation in '08 of Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge, where all state softballs played. So we do feel like we're working with a very credible company.
Without revealing what any of those things are, do you have a range of potential?
Looking at some of the pieces we could save money on, it could be anywhere to the $100,000 to $150,000 range. We're also, again, as the board action item, we're looking at possible disposition of the Shadow Avenue property, which that money would go back into the Pebble account as well, the sales tax proceeds for this. And Ms. Dana Sullivan's here, and as we both know, we're continuing to work at grants, and we are getting ready to open a new fundraising initiative as well. So we're really proud, since May 1st, we had raised over $900,000, but we're going to keep working and keep lowering that amount. We know if we can't lower costs, we can go and raise more money, and we're going to continue to do that.
And didn't, Dana, you sent out an email to a couple of us last week? You just finished a couple of other grant applications. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, she continues to do work, and her group and her team are continuing to attempt to either find more grant money or raise more money to potentially offset this. So, I think the total, I still don't like the cost at this point, but I think we'll be fine.
One other quick question for you. Regarding the project that's been put together by Woodruff, if we're able to see those cost savings in part of the project, does that affect their timeline or cost to us?
We're really excited about this, but I'm a baseball guy, so I don't want to be superstitious. You never talk about the heater. And that is, we met with, so we had two major construction meetings. We had a design meeting last Tuesday, which Jerry Mitchell attended, which V&K was there, representatives from Gary Anderson, Scott Anderson, and they have committed that they're going to start construction this week, barring weather. And then barring weather, their anticipation is to be done before Christmas. And enough that, as we've stated before, we have performance bonds, holding them to that. And that's been our plan all along. And we know it's an expedited timeline, but we wanted to have everything in place and set so that way, it gives us March, April, May, even as contingency time to get ready for the first day. Now, 11 snow days could impact that, if that were to happen again. And so we can't control weather, but I will tell you, we are moving as fast as possible within a construction timeline to make this happen. That's why you also saw all the volunteer work happen, all the trees and demo work being done over the summer, even pre-construction piece, because we knew if they had to start doing that, it would take time on the timeline. So we feel very confident, but again, I don't want to jinx it with the weather, that we will be done, before Christmas.
Fantastic, thank you.
I move to approve the contract for Woodruff Construction LLC for $2,054,997.67 to complete work on the baseball softball field project as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Woodruff Construction LLC for $2,054,997.67 to complete work on the baseball softball field project as presented. Any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Agenda item number 21, Memorandum of Understanding, TLC.
We are really excited about our future with TLC. We understand, and you'll hear us talk about this, birth to career. We realize that we're really working on that partnership and what TLC calls it the first 1,000 days, the first 3 years of life. And having a nonprofit child care center that is really their vision and mission aligns with us is really exciting. As obviously we're doing a lot of facilities work, we're also working with them. They've taken over our extended day program, so now kids can have a longer child care experience, after for our pre-K kids. And they're even working with, even school-age kids as well in partnership with our current after-school programs. So we wanted to actually put a memorandum of understanding with them, as we continue to share resources, do different things such as, transportation, other resources that we can benefit each other. And so this MOU is for your consideration.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Learning Center effective July 1st, 2019 through June 30, 2020 as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Memorandum of Understanding with the Learning Center effective July 1st, 2019 through June 30th of 2020 as presented. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 22, financial report for August 2019.
In your report, this is the last month that you'll just receive like a comparison of cash. Next month, we'll start showing you revenue expense compared to budget for the 2019-20 school year. In the report in August, you'll notice that the dental account within the Fund 71 is negative. Keep in mind this is the second month of activity, and we are self-funded. So depending upon the timing of claims, so we don't tell employees you can't have all your work done in July and August. So we ended up having more claims in July and August as compared to premiums, because premiums are collected evenly throughout the year. So hopefully then by year end, we'll have a negative or a positive balance. So
Are we able to move money from the health fund into this fund if we need to? I mean, if we find that this is a,
We
Yeah,
can't-
how did you cover the negative balance?
The health insurance fund has a large positive balance, so, and it's actually in the same bank account, it's just tracked separately.
okay.
So, you know, the dental side of it will have to repay with interest, you know, the amount they need to cover those expenses.
Can you entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the August 2019 financial report as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the August 2019 financial report as presented. Are there any additional questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 23, consideration of consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda items as listed below.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items as listed below. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 24, correspondence and miscellaneous. None. You see important dates listed, and with that, I will adjourn at 7:17.